Guys, we have some breaking news. RFK Jr. just dropped this massive bombshell about the WHO. My guy just never takes a day off, does he? Anyways, he just made the call, and you need to watch this. Here is what he posted. The proposed amendments to the international health regulations open the door to the kind of narrative management, propaganda, and censorship that we saw during the COVID pandemic. The United States can cooperate with other nations without jeopardizing our civil liberties, without undermining our Constitution, and without ceding away America's treasured sovereignty. All right. In a shocking 4 minutes, he just says the quiet part out loud. And I love every second of it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe. It does make the biggest difference ever. All right, check this out.
Hello, everyone. This is your HHS Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I want to speak to you today about a controversial issue that could directly impact you and your family during a global health emergency. Last year, the World Health Organization's governing body made some far-reaching amendments to its international health regulations, otherwise known as the IHR regulations. These regulations establish the legal framework that gives countries rights and responsibilities for managing public health events with global impact. The deadline to reject these amendments is next week, and we are rejecting them. So I'd like to explain to you why. The first reason is national sovereignty. Nations who accept the new regulations are signing over their power in health emergencies to an unelected international organization that could order lockdowns, travel restrictions, or any other measures it sees fit. In fact, it doesn't even need to declare an emergency. Potential public health risks are enough for it to initiate action. If we're going to give the WHO that much power, we should at least invite a thorough public debate, especially since the agreement is an official treaty and it bypasses the US Senate, which plays a key role in ensuring major international commitments receive proper democratic oversight. To make matters worse, the new regulations employ extremely broad language that gives the WHO unprecedented power. They require countries to establish systems of risk communication so that the WHO can implement unified public messaging globally. That opens the door to the kind of narrative management and propaganda and censorship that we saw during the COVID pandemic. We don't want to see that kind of system institutionalized even further. The agreement also contains provisions about global systems of health IDs, vaccine passports, and a centralized medical database. It lays the groundwork for global medical surveillance of every human being. Maybe if the WHO were an infallible authority, untainted by industry influence, we would consider accepting the new regulations. Unfortunately, the COVID pandemic demonstrated otherwise. During COVID, the WHO failed to enforce the international health regulations that were already in place for generations. China withheld critical information about the outbreak for at least a month and faced no real consequences or criticism from WHO. As the 2024 Congressional Oversight Report put it, the WHO was misinformed, denied access to China, and used as a cover for the Chinese Communist Party's reckless action. These and other atrocities make one thing clear: we must strengthen national and local autonomy to hold global organizations in check and to restore a real balance of power. Underneath all the bureaucratic language, what's at stake here is a vision for our future. Are we going to be subjects to a technocratic control system that uses health risks and pandemic preparedness as a Trojan horse to curtail basic democratic freedoms? Do we want a future where every person, every movement, every transaction, and every human body is under surveillance at all times? Now, I don't want to be too alarmist. The new regulations aren't in themselves medical totalitarianism. In fact, they were perhaps written with good intentions, but they are definitely a step in the wrong direction. That's why we're rejecting the amendments, not only on behalf of our own citizens, but the whole world. After all, America could simply ignore the WHO, but few other countries are as powerful as the United States. Even though many of these amendments are phrased to be non-binding, As a practical matter, it's hard for many countries to resist them, especially when they are dependent on the WHO funding and its partnerships. That's why we're taking leadership to stop an agreement that's bad for the entire world. I want to be clear that in rejecting these amendments, President Trump and I are not rejecting international cooperation. We can cooperate with other nations without jeopardizing our civil liberties, without undermining our Constitution, and without ceding away America's treasured sovereignty. That's my commitment to you. That's President Trump's commitment to you. Thank you, and God bless you all, and God bless our country.
Produced by the U.S.
Holy smokes. I love it. You know what? Like my favorite thing about seeing these videos with like RFK Jr. or really anybody else who's part of the Trump administration is I really do feel like they're inviting us into this dialogue, explaining why they're making these decisions, not just behind, not just the discussions behind closed doors, but really the thinking behind this. And I just love being part of it. It is so good. So RFK Jr. here is essentially announcing the exit from a WHO global health treaty. He is saying that the WHO is trying to quietly take control of global health decisions, and he's just not letting America hand over its freedom without any sort of fight. And I don't know about you, but I personally like this. I like us having our own sovereignty. I like us having our own freedom. And I love that in this moment, RFK Jr. is even just zooming out here. He said, like, this is about the future, what kind of future we want to create. We want a future with surveillance or with digital IDs tracking every move, where the unelected elites are essentially deciding when we can travel, when we can work. This would essentially put us on a leash. And he's like, no, thank you. Americans like our freedom. All right. So I love this. This is a future built on freedom, on discernment, on human dignity. And that is the real decision that is being made on the table here. So I love it. And here is what other people are saying, because I love bringing up other perspectives here. It's not just mine or Kennedy's. It is what people are saying, how people are responding. So these are some of the top comments. Check it out. RFK Jr. is one of the best HHS secretaries we have because, one, he actually cares about our health. He can navigate the swamp of corrupt medical systems. He is well versed in law and knows the games of industrial and medical complex plays. And four, he knows where real health comes from. Bravo, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That's from Justin Deschamps. So good. I'm going to go ahead and give this a like. Another top comment says, international organizations should have zero jurisdiction over the United States. Another person said, agreed. This isn't rocket science. It's almost like this is clear, but this is one of those things that would have been completely swept under the rug underneath another administration, and especially without Robert F. Kennedy Jr. leading the way. Another commenter says, I absolutely agree. Real health starts at home. We in the US can take our own health and also cooperate with others where and when we need it. I love it. So good. And perhaps one of my favorite perspectives here is by Anna Matson. She says Secretary Kennedy is not allowing the WHO to manage the United States during a global health crisis. This is the leadership millions of people voted for. And she is 100% right. I love it. Anyways, guys, if we could just zoom out here for just a moment. This isn't really just about health. All right, as Kennedy said, this is about who you want to create the future. Do you want it to be up to the unelected? Do you want it to be up to the untouchable? Or will it be shaped by people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? All right, and other people who are also in these positions. And this is what's so powerful about administrations. Like the decision back in 2024 wasn't just between Kamala Harris and President Trump and other candidates. It was people who were going to be surrounding them. And on the Trump administration, you have people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you have Director Tulsi Gabbard, and so forth. And do you want the future to be created with people like these making the shots, or the other candidates? All right. So I don't know about you, but it's days like today, I feel pretty good about how we voted in 2024. All right. I like it. Anyways, let me know anything about all this in the comment section. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And what kind of future do you want to create? All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. And if you made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does make a big difference. All right. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Episode's over already. Jeez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.